So yesterday's release of the Jordan 12 Taxi, it was an interesting one, right? A release which took me back to my childhood, back to 1996. And not only because that's the year when this sneaker originally dropped, but it also took me back to a time where, let's say you were able to just walk into a sneaker store. If you were simply able to afford the sneakers, they were yours, which of course throughout the years things changed with the introduction of limited exclusivity. People always want a release which everybody else can't have, and in return, it also became the driving force to determine whether a sneaker is hot or not, right? So this release was kind of like a case study for sneakerheads, because the fact that Jordan Brand made this shoe accessible, the fact that you were able to just walk into stores and purchase these, in return, everybody's saying they're trash, right? People are calling them bricks, saying they're not hot, which is so crazy because just a couple of days prior to that, we had the release of the Jordan 11 Rare Air, which heading into this drop, people were saying the 11s were burnt out, talking about these colors were trash, they were giving flea market vibes. But then once they officially dropped and sold out due to the fact they were a little more limited, right? People's narratives were changing, right? They were starting to say things like the 11s got their aura back. You know, the 11s have always been one of the best Jordan retros, which is crazy because watch when them Gamma Blue 11s drop, which is rumored to have like a whole bunch of stock, right? And them joints don't sell out instantly. Then people are gonna be right back to bashing the 11s once again. So it's kind of crazy, right? Everybody always wants a sneaker which they can't have, but just because the shoe's limited and exclusive doesn't mean that they're actually hot. And nowadays, it even seems like more so than that. A shoe just being a good shoe isn't enough to actually give it its proper dues, and you also got to attach these storylines, you know, just in order to sell sneakers, right? So take, for example, earlier this year, we had the release of the Jordan 4 Brick by Brick from Nigel Sylvester, which I felt like his rise to the sneaker game has been organic, right? That first pair of Jordans, I think it really connected with the people, right? The storytelling, which was infused with the design elements. It was just really great. Plus, people rocked with Nigel. They felt like he was authentic and somebody that they wanted to rally behind, right? Then we had the introduction of the Jordan 4 RM with the grandma driveway and everything like that. So all of that stuff basically led up to the Jordan 4 Brick by Brick being an absolute smash hit. People are already rocking with these based off the first impressions. Jordan 4s were probably at its all-time high as far as popularity, but then, of course, right before the release, right, we got this big story talking about 1,985 pairs were allegedly stolen off of a train, right, ahead of this release, which is absolutely crazy. Like 1985, the same year the Jordan 1 made its debut back in the day. Like, I don't know, something was kind of crazy, but regardless, these joints dropped, sold out like crazy. People were giving these all type of praise, including Complex, which just named these as the 2025 sneaker of the year. But I kind of feel like even with all this extra, like all the shenanigans involved with this drop, people were still gonna buy these anyway. So it was like, what was really all the point? Was it really necessary, right? Or maybe, who knows, maybe this story was all the way legit. But we also got to take into account shoes like this. Remember, a few months after that, the Awake NY Jordan 5, a shoe which people were giving a lot of praise for Awake NY's redesign of the classic Jordan 5, the Pepto-Bismol pink color on the upper, which I felt like, you know, really popped with a little touch of red right here. You know, a simple update to a classic Jordan sneaker. I feel like these were really dope, right? But then, of course, we had all the shenanigans, the extra BS involved, right? Where you had full size runs hitting resale shops ahead of the drop. Remember, you had the whole controversy with the numbering of the pairs and everything like that. And then, of course, you had the big Awake NY Jordan 5 scam scandal, which that was absolutely crazy. Probably one of the biggest headlines of the year. Remember, there was a chick who was allegedly selling friends and family links to a point where that joint was just spread like wildfire. People were getting blocked. It was just a huge scandal, right? A huge situation. Everybody remembers what happened with that one, right? And then, of course, once the sneakers dropped, people were going nuts for them. Resale prices skyrocketed, and again, you know, made that Complex top 10 sneaker of the year list, which it's like, the shoe is already dope enough. Did they really need to add in all the extra shenanigans in order to sell these? I don't know, but I guess they feel like maybe it's needed, right? Or who knows, maybe it was all legit, right? Then that brings us right here to these Solefly Jordan 3s, right? A shoe which you already got the cool Miami Hurricanes theme. These joints right here were already platinum down south, down here in South Florida, but of course, you know, the green and orange, it bleeds throughout the nation. I feel like this is a shoe which a lot of people were checking for, right? The introduction, you know, the unveiling of this collaboration, we saw it at the Miami Hurricanes home opener. So it felt like the rollout for this shoe was perfect, right? They were gifting them to former Miami players, all that good stuff, right? A lot of love for this sneaker. And then, of course, we got the whole big headline over here talking about multiple pairs of the Solefly Jordan 3 and their boxes were stolen while in transit to Nike's Memphis distribution center. They're currently investigating the situation, and unfortunately Solefly is saying that this could impact the release, which is kind of crazy, right? Because it's like, think about it, right? The shoe was already dope, right? But do they need the extra headline to sell the shoe? I don't know. It's something to consider, right? Because last time when Solefly dropped a pair of Jordans, right, they dropped these 12s, right? What they did is they gifted some pairs out to influencers, dropped this little promo visual, and just called it a day, right? They just did a solid, regular, good old-fashioned release. And in return, these joints were sitting, and mind you, ahead of this drop, this was a shoe which a lot of people were giving a whole lot of praise, you know, saying these were a must cop and everything. But then once these dropped, bro, they were just sitting like ducks. Nobody wanted them. I want to even say like a year after the drop, they're going for under retail. So maybe Solefly looked at this drop and was like, yo, we can't just drop sneakers the good old-fashioned way. A regular rollout is not enough, and maybe we need some of this extra drama, you know, in order to fuel some of the hype for this release right here. I mean, you got the Brick by Bricks, the sneaker of the year. Seems like they needed the extra little promo to sell it. So for Solefly just to drop a shoe the good old way, maybe that wasn't enough. And apparently we do have Sneakerheads actually calling Solefly and Jordan Brand out for their BS. We got Nature Boy Chuck over here talking about FYI. The Solefly release won't be delayed. All the extra chatter is a gimmick. Stock will be available. Don't pay attention to anything crazy unless you have to, or don't pay anything crazy unless you have to. Talking about these are bangers, right? Which I agree, like this is a dope shoe, one that I was looking to get my hands on, but I feel like I won't be able to actually prove it. But if all of this extra BS turns out to be just literally BS, it's something I can't stand behind. And for a shoe like this, which I was looking to get my hands on, if it turns out to be true, right, that this is just extra marketing promo, like that just automatically turns me off. It makes me not even want to, you know, even go for these joints right here, which again, I feel like I really won't be able to prove it. But with Jordan Brand just playing with us in our faces like this, like how do y'all feel about it, right? I feel like with the Awake NY scam, that could have been legit, but as far as these Nigels, the 1985 pairs, bro, like it felt like they were absolutely playing in our faces, right? And again, this is a shoe which I feel like they didn't even need the extra marketing gimmicks. People were already gonna sell them. Remember I told you about Nigel's organic rise to the sneaker game? Like people are already checking for these, right? So I don't know, man. I can't really pinpoint exactly if this is legit or not, but as far as the claims of Solefly getting pairs stolen ahead of the drop, who knows? Maybe they were just legit backdooring pairs. Maybe they were stolen or not. But as far as these resale shops, these resellers, they're still flexing full size runs right in front of our face. So apparently Nike and Jordan Brand, they don't really care about it. Sneakerheads are calling them out for the BS. Let me know what y'all think about this, because if this all turns out to be true, like literally, I don't even want these joints no more. So let me know what y'all think about it, man. It's Sunday. I just want to check in with y'all on this topic because I ain't gonna lie, man. Like the 12s, the taxis yesterday, it had me thinking, right? Like just nobody's happy for anybody in the sneaker game, right? Like they're talking about these are trash. Like why can't y'all just be happy for the people that grabbed them, whether they're sitting or not? Like who cares, bro? If a sneaker's dope, a sneaker's dope. Everybody has different stories, different connections to these releases right here. So sometimes it's not always just about resale, right? And on a final note too, when you talk about these rare 11s, right? What's also kind of crazy too is the fact that these sold out. You got people saying that they were a fake sellout, right? It's like nobody could just be happy to enjoy the shoes for what they are, just sneakers. So JATV, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Drop your feedback, man. It's a great Sunday. I know everybody's sitting around waiting for these Travises to drop, which who really cares? Whoop-de-doo about them Travises, man. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in, man. If you enjoyed today's update, smash the like button. Plus, if you've been enjoying the content, consider subscribing. We just hit 7,000. We're on the road to 8,000, man. I appreciate everybody. I'll catch y'all tomorrow for the latest updates. In the meantime, stay safe, stay blessed. I'm out, y'all. Love.